We love featuring artists that you should know about on the show. And today we're heading to North Carolina to chat with singer-songwriter Paige King Johnson. Paige is a North Carolina native. She moved to Nashville to go to college. She dropped her debut album, Honky Tonk Heart, last year. Her latest single is called I Thank God, and we are excited to have Paige King Johnson on the show. First, Paige, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. Well, you played in Charlotte on Saturday. There's a clip on your social media of you playing I Thank God. You said it's a room full of listeners. I mean, they are all intently staring at you. Were you intimidated? What's going through your mind when you're playing the show?
Well, honestly, I mean, that any songwriter eats that kind of a crowd up. It was so nice and so refreshing because, you know, as artists, no matter how big or small you are, in some venues, you can feel like you're just background noise and people could care less about anything that's going on. And I've seen that happen anywhere from tiny little bars to stadiums. And so it's always a really refreshing time whenever you're in an audience, especially in, you know, like a very close audience like that they truly are just like hanging on to every single word that you're saying and singing. And it's just such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I guess that would be cool that they're all actually paying attention. You're like, wow.
Yeah, I know. What a concept.
You did. You had them in the palm of your hand. Now, tell me the town so I don't butcher it. What's the town you grew up in North Carolina?
Anger.
Okay, Anger, North Carolina. This is a town of like 4,500 people, so you fit right into Wyoming, where we're at. Your grandpa was your biggest fan. You started playing guitar, then you started playing fairs, and then you started like as an opening act for all kinds of big name acts. How? How did you do that?
By the grace of God and a whole lot of luck is what I tell everybody. I don't know. It's crazy how I have found myself in some of these situations of being on stage with absolute stars like Scotty McCreery and Gabby Barrett and Diamond Rio and Neil McCoy and all kinds of different artists on, you know, all kinds of, different decades of fame and everything. And it's just been such a cool thing for me. And, I always have those pinch me moments of like, are we sure this is happening? Or is this just another fever dream that you're having? Like, what is happening? But, it's always really cool to be able to share the stage with artists like that because they teach you so much just in watching their show and watching how they interact with their crowd and with their bands. And it's just a really cool opportunity every time that, I get to share a stage with somebody like that.
Yeah, it's impressive. If you go and check her out, PaigeKingJohnson.com, read her bio, and see all the people that she's open for. So after all that, you're like, all right, I need to go to Belmont. It's in Nashville. You go for music business. When did you start branching out and doing these songwriting sessions?
Well, I mean, I loved I was so passionate about being an artist, but I also come from an entrepreneur background. And so I knew that you also, to be successful in this business, have to be business savvy. Yeah. And, you have to know how to protect yourself and how to protect your songs and how to protect, the income that's very sparse and sporadic that's coming in for independent artists. And so, going to Belmont for music business was really important for me to be able to figure out how to fight for myself and how to stick up for myself in meetings and, be able to keep the bills paid and keep food on the table as an artist. And so that was really important for me. And I quickly realized when I moved to Nashville that the heart of Nashville is around songwriting. And so I started, busting my butt of trying to figure out how to write a song to begin with, where to start, what kind of stories to tell, and who were the right people to help me tell those stories. And, it took a long time for me to kind of find a good group of writers that I felt comfortable with in a room and who understood where I was coming from on, all different sides and that were fun people to tell stories with. It's got to be fun at the end of the day. So it took me a little while, but I've definitely found a great group of people to write with now. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned a music business. People think, oh, you're a musician, you're drinking beer, it's a party. Well, yeah, it's a business if you want to make this thing last for your life. But you kind of did it from the ground up in Nashville. Was it because you were going to college that it wasn't that much pressure? Because I mean, you start at the Bluebird. I mean, it's like the total Nashville story, Paige.
I mean, yeah, it was all, it was all picking myself up from the bootstraps and just hoofing it one after the other. And, I'm a firm believer in you gotta work for anything that you want, and, nothing's going to be handed to you. And so I did as much as I could. I mean, I moved to Nashville when I was 17 years old. So it wasn't like I could go out to bars and like go to shows there. And so I was really struggling at the beginning to try to figure out, okay, how do I play shows here? And how do I go out and meet people and all the things? And no, I did not get a fake ID. But thankfully there were some bars around town that still embraced, the college age kids that were just moving to town and were young and hungry and, wanted to be able to start getting their feet indoors. And so I just took every single show that I could, and I took every single right that I could from the beginning, just to try to find that, that community of riders that I was comfortable with, and, never really looked back, and just, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was doing it, and it somehow worked.
Yeah. And a little faith and a little positivity probably helped along the way.
Absolutely. And all the support from, my family and friends back home. They were the reason that I would keep going on the days that, really were not the best.
Yeah. We're chatting with Paige King Johnson. Go check her out, PaigeKingJohnson.com. She's on Facebook, Instagram. Her latest single, I Thank God, is out now. Well, congratulations, Paige, because you are a 5-time Carolina Country Music Award winner. You just won Songwriter of the Year. How awesome was that?
Insane. Absolutely insane. That was definitely one of those pinch me moments when they said my name. I looked to my husband and I was like, are we sure? That is what I heard, right? And it's crazy. Now I have a BMI gold record hanging on my wall, and, it's truly surreal, because at the end of the day, if you don't have good songs in this industry, then you don't have a career. And so I have really, over the past 8 years of being in Nashville, I have really hounded myself of you have to become the best songwriter that you can be. And I've written over 300 songs, and, it takes a lot of time and a lot of work and effort of trying to, find your voice as a songwriter and find stories that are worth telling. And, it means a lot. Not that we need the recognition to keep going, but it does mean a lot to, be recognized by my peers and people in the industry of the hard work that I've been putting in. And, I'm just going to use it as encouragement to keep writing better songs all the time.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of songs and being in North Carolina, this was cool. In 2022, you were named the first ever North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services musical ambassador. You wrote and released a song called Homes in the Hometowns, inspired by farmers and ranchers in North Carolina. First, when they come to you and say, hey, Paige, we want you to write a song about farmers and ranchers in North Carolina, were you like, I mean, that had to, I would be nervous. I'd be like, really? I mean, what were you thinking?
Well, really the approach wasn't, hey, can you write a song for us? It was really just, hey, we've never really done this before and we don't know what it's going to look like, but would you be interested in being the first ever ambassador for the North Carolina Department of Agriculture? And I was a farm kid. I mean, showing horses and showing lambs and showing rabbits, that all came way before music did. And so that was a huge part of my life in 4-H and FFA. And so I was like, sure, y'all can tell me to jump and I'll say how high. I mean, I'm up for this. And so it started out as just kind of like a, hey, we want you to be able to be a spokesperson for us. And then kind of morphed into this whole, I brought the idea of them of, hey, would you be open to me kind of writing a song that embodies, the beliefs around all the farmers and ranchers and the hard work and the, dedication that they put into their work every single day. And then that morphed into creating this music video for them that got to feature some farms that are in North Carolina. And, we did a video project that featured some FFA students that are in North Carolina. And it really just kind of, the path was shaped and molded and formed as we were going along. And, it was a lot of fun because none of us had expectations. We were just doing what we loved and trying to figure out a way to give, louder voices to the farmers and ranchers in our state.
Yeah, it would have been cool. I mean, FFA and agriculture, huge around here because we're in Wyoming, and you went around to schools and talked to people. I mean, that had to be awesome. It's like, boy, this amazing singer is coming here and talking to us about FFA and agriculture. It had to be really cool for the kids, and they were all smiling. The video's great. Go and check it out. You can go to YouTube and check out Homes in the Hometowns by Paige King Johnson. Well, we had her on the show just a couple months ago. She was here in town. Pam Tillis. You have ties to Pam Tillis. You worked alongside Pam creating music videos. We just played the track that kind of caught her attention. Tell us how you got hooked up with Pam.
Yeah, so my team in Nashville, one of the people on the team, Bernard Porter, he has been in the music industry for a while and had worked with Pam a little back in the 90s and early 2000s when, she was just killing it. And whenever we were starting to work on Just Like You, bringing it, to the front as a single, he did not even tell me, and he sent the song to Pam of just, hey, this is an artist that I'm working with, and she's, busting her chops out here in Nashville, all the things. And it was right after the shutdowns in 2020. And so Pam, for the first time in a really long time, was off the road, and really, she didn't have a lot going on touring wise, and she had just finished up working on an album, and so she had a lot of free time on her hands, and she very unexpectedly just popped in right back and was like, I'd love to meet with her. I love what she's got going on and just would love to be involved however that looks like. And whenever they told me, I was like, is this like a prank? Is somebody going to jump out, and say, just kidding? But yeah, she came on and she was the producer for that music video for Just Like You. And that kind of opened this whole door up for a relationship with us. And we've done multiple music videos together now. And she's, helped with styling on a couple of photo shoots. And she's been with me in the studio to help on the production side as well, too. And has just really touched a lot of different areas in my career that have been so, shaping for me and just incredible.
Yeah, well, and we talked about it with her on the show. I don't think she gets as much credit as she deserves. I mean, she was one of the first pop country singers, female, and you don't hear that much of her. I mean, she had such an amazing career.
And she still is.
And still does, yeah.
That woman is on the road every other weekend, going to Texas and California and Arizona and New York. And I'm like, you go, girl. You are the biggest inspiration ever. And she truly is. I mean, she has shared so many little nuggets of knowledge and, inspiration to me, especially as a female in country music. I mean, she knows, all the ropes that you have to jump over and the hoops you have to jump through to be able to succeed in this industry. And she's just been so helpful to me.
Yeah, and she can help glam you out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. She is the fashion queen. I mean, yeah. Every time I leave her house, she's giving me new clothes or whatever. I'm like, I don't deserve you.
Yeah, it awesome. Just a sweet lady, and she's real. That's what was so cool about her. Well, your new single, I Thank God. I mean, I'm listening to this song, and Paige, you're amazing. I just want to tell you that you have an amazing voice. I'm like, why haven't we heard of this girl before now? I mean, you're pretty much localized. You're pretty much playing shows in North Carolina or the Carolinas, Tennessee, and Virginia.
Yeah.
When are we branching out? What are we thinking?
That's the goal. We were talking about it earlier. Every year, I force myself to play in a new state. And so this year's new states, actually, we're doing a few. I'm playing in Georgia and Florida. And last year I actually got to play in Montana for the first time. So that was branching out towards you. And yeah. I'm always trying to get further west. I mean, I love in the summertime going out to Wyoming and Montana and just, Idaho and all out there. It's just so pretty. And, I told you, if you got somewhere that I can play, I'll pack my bags in a skinny minute and I'll be out there.
Oh, we definitely have places for you to play. We need to get Paige out here. You're playing the hometown show tomorrow night. Is it cool? Is it pressure? What do we feel about a hometown show?
No, I feel like right when I moved to Nashville, I felt a lot of pressure whenever I was coming back home to play shows. But, because people are like, well, literally after 2 months of living in Nashville, like, well, when are you going to play the Grand Ole Opry and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if only it happened like that. But, I've started to learn how to just tune out people who just have unrealistic expectations of how the music industry works. But B, I've found my group of people around home who really do believe in me, and they've been the ones who have been the biggest cheerleaders from the beginning. And, they're the ones that I'm trying to entertain and trying to make proud. And all the people who, may not really understand how all this works, they're not really a concern. I just hope that they enjoy the music while they're there.
Yeah. Come on, Paige. When are you playing the Ryman? Aren't you headlining next week? Come on.
I know. Just, casual. You've been there for, 8 months. Why aren't you on a headlining tour? I'm like, it's happening. Yeah. It's going to happen, but it takes some time.
It'll happen. Don't worry. It'll happen. You wrote this song with Mike. Is he a writing partner? Is this a one-off? What?
Yeah, so me and Mike Astrakan, we actually just realized that we had our 5-year writing anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Back in January. So yeah, he's been a dear friend of mine for a long time in Nashville, and we've written a lot of songs, a lot of my favorite songs, and a lot of the songs on the album that I put out in 2022, he was a writer on, and he's just one of those people that, in our souls, we love the same music and we understand each other of, what we're passionate about and, our core values and principles and all the things. And he's somebody that I know I'm going to get a good song with whenever I write. And, that's a huge thing as a songwriter.
Yeah. Well, and I heard this song didn't take you very long to write, did it?
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
We were done.
I mean, it
Crazy.
Came out.
It did. And I tell people all the time, it really didn't, especially that day, it didn't feel like we were writing a song. It really just more so felt like we were the vessel to get the words from a heart to paper. And, those are the days that it feels really good to be a songwriter when it doesn't feel like you've executed any effort whatsoever, that it just kind of flowed out. You're very grateful for those days.
Oh, for sure. Go and check her out, PaigeKingJohnson.com. She's got videos on there. The new lyric video for I Thank God, it's pretty sweet. You got all kinds of tour stops and all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff, which is really cool. So go and definitely check that out. You said you recorded 4 songs in November, so we got more singles. What's coming?
Yeah, so actually, this is very new news, but the official music video for I Thank God is coming out next week, which I'm really, really excited about.
Oh, nice.
And then after that, we have quite a few more singles coming this year, which I'm very much so looking forward to. And they're, as a songwriter, I feel like every new song you write is your new favorite, and you're like, oh, this is way better than anything I've ever written. And so these new songs are ones that I'm really proud of, and we had a lot of fun, writing them. And I really do feel like they kind of peel back another layer of me and where I came from and, my life now. So I'm excited about them.
Yeah, go and check her out. Follow her. Big things coming. I guarantee when you listen to a couple of songs, you're going to fall in love with her. Paige King Johnson. Paige, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Here's I Thank God. It's KIX 96.5.